All right, so there's a second way we can cause things to execute in threads and have things running concurrently. Instead of extending the thread class, we can construct a new thread using an argument that is what's called a runnable. So if we go up to the documentation for the thread class and we look at constructors, instead of constructing with no arguments, we can construct with a runnable. And a runnable can be any class that we like, and we're going to use a new keyword, implements, which says that this runnable is going to include certain methods with certain signatures. In particular, it's going to include a run method. So let's see what this looks like. Let's make a class called myrun.java, and I'll say class myrun, and I'm going to say it implements runnable. So this class needs a run method, and it's got to be a public void run. So let's make a constructor. So public myrun integer ID, and same as before, we'll have an integer ID that will identify this thread. We'll have a constructor that sets that, and then we'll make a public void run. And we'll do the same thing that we did before. And we'll do this in a loop. All right, so there's going to be our class. It's got a constructor, which is optional, except I want to save an ID, and then it's got a run method, which will loop 100 times, print out the ID, followed by the integer, followed by a space. So I should be able to compile that. And now let's make a main method. And so let's create some runnable objects. And the way we're going to do these is we're going to actually declare an object of type thread. So I'll call thread mythread1 equals new thread. And I need to pass a runnable to it. Well, the runnable I'm going to pass is going to be an instance of myrun. So I'm just going to say new myrun, and I'll pass it an ID of 1. And I'll do that 3 times, and then I'll say mythread.1, mythread1.start. And that'll be the end of our main method and the end of our class. So what is this going to do? It's going to construct a new thread, but it's constructing it with this, an instance of the myrun method, right, which is this thing that we just wrote, and the implements runnable guarantees that we have a run method inside here. And then when we say thread.start, it's going to look at that runnable it was created with. It's going to look at the run method, create a new thread, and go ahead and execute that. So if we compile main, and then we run main, we get, this asynchronous parallel behavior that we've seen previously, where the threads start at different points and they run at different points and they switch back and forth, who's generating output to the display and so on. And so that's an alternative. The advantage of doing this is that instead of extending a thread, we're doing an implement, and so we could also have my run extend something else if we wanted to make a class extension that can be run in separate threads. We can do it by implementing a runnable. So either way is fine. I'll generally stick to extending a thread in this class, but we have options for both. So this is the easier part of the process, is creating the threads, getting them to execute. The trickier part is getting these threads to play nicely together. And this is going to get into the notion of thread safety and synchronization. And so that'll be the topic of our next class.